Hey guys, hope you're well. Check out the attire. That is right. I got myself a new End the Fed hat and everybody's favorite, a new Rebel Capitalist t-shirt. Yes, I am stoked. We finally got some more. I had worn that old End the Head fat. That old End the Fed hat I had. There's a tongue twister for you. It was getting so sweaty and so nasty, I had to throw it out. And same thing with that Rebel Capitalist t-shirt. I only had one. You guys remember all of the live streams and interviews you've seen me wearing that End the Head fat, End the Head, End the Fed hat. That is really tough to say. And the Rebel Capitalist t-shirt. I didn't have like 20 or 30 of those hats or 20 or 30 of those t-shirts. I only had one. Oh, so it was just getting disgusting. So I had to throw them out. And Sebastian had to figure out how to order me new ones. And I finally got them in the mail today. So if you were wondering, that's why I haven't been wearing them. But that is going to change starting this evening. All right, so let's head into the article. I just got done interviewing my good buddy Peter Schiff. I was on the Skype call with him. We were talking for almost 2 hours, going back and forth. Great interview. I think you guys are going to love it. It'll be out tomorrow night on the George Gammon channel. But let's check out again, it's a situation where the mainstream media has been or is now acknowledging what we have been saying for months now. And it just goes back to that good old-fashioned common sense. Doesn't seem to be so common, especially when you're dealing with the media. Lack of workers is hurting small businesses. Really? You think so? So it's lack of workers is hurting small businesses' ability to keep up with demand. Again, duh. Something we have been talking about for months on this channel and in these live streams. And it gives an example of this gal, Sophie Evanoff, owner of Vanilla, I don't know how the heck to pronounce that, pastry in Chicago. And I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's what you would expect. Oh, wait, here, it skipped on me. Pretty much what you expect. I mean, she seems like a red-pilled rebel capitalist herself, and easy to take the red pill when you're an actual employer and dealing with this stuff or your boots on the ground daily. But she says at this point, she has to turn down orders. And she has a staff of 20 people in her main location and need 8 to 10 more. She hasn't reopened her second marketplace location because she has no staff. She even boosted pay by 20%. And I want to point out, she's not turning a profit. A lot of people, when I talk about all of this demand for workers and the government being in competition with employers, they always say, oh, well, if the employer just paid a living wage, then we wouldn't have to worry about this. As if just increasing wages, just that solves the problem. It's a total, you're completely ignoring the fact that it's the creation of goods and services that actually create wealth. It's not just paying people more currency units. That's just going to increase prices. It's going to it's going to distort the economy further, because what you're doing is you're forcing employers to pay employees more than they produce. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to hear, that you or maybe someone you know isn't producing $20 an hour worth of stuff or $20 an hour worth of a service. And if you're not producing that, then the employer cannot pay it to you. And the people that have this view, they think that these employers, such as this, what was the gal's name here? Sophie. They think that Sophie is just flush with money. She's making millions of dollars. She's just buying these Ferraris and these yachts, and she's just sitting back in her chair laughing, smoking her cigar, if that's something she enjoys, just lighting the cigar with those $100 bills as she just calls her Smithers on the phone and tells Smithers to reduce the wages even further so she can squeeze more blood out of the turnip so she can buy another Lamborghini or another yacht. Utter nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense is because small business owners are especially like this gal that's working in food. I mean, her margins are like 5%. Her margins are so low that she's barely making probably 50 or 75 grand herself, even though she's employing 20 people. So yeah, you can sit there and say, oh, well, she should pay a living wage, whatever that means. But it shows you that even when she boosts pay 20%, she's not making money at that. And she just hopes that she can create another location and get some economy of scale to lower her cost of goods sold, and therefore eke out a bit of a profit that makes the incredible risk and the responsibility and the hours that she's working, and make that all worth her while. This is what the people that just say, oh, well, she should just increase wages. That's employers just increase wages and we wouldn't have this problem. They just paid everyone. If the government is paying people $20 an hour, well, if employers just paid everyone $30 an hour, then problem solved. You're going to get tons of employees then. Again, as if that solves the problem. That makes it even worse. She blames the added government benefits like the extra $300 in unemployment. I believe that's $300 a week, by the way, and stimulus checks for keeping workers away, as well as people leaving the industry during the shutdown. Okay, well, I would say, well, where are they going? What industry are they going into? What industry do you know right now that's just flushed with employees? Like they're just overwhelmed by the amount of resumes they're getting. The impact, and this is where CNBC kind of editorializes, the impact of the unemployment pays role on the worker shortage in industries across the nation, however, is up for debate. Really? With whom? Who is debating this? Last week's weaker than expected jobs report led many to blame the government benefits, yet economists argue it's more nuanced. Okay. Other reasons may include lack of childcare for kids still attending school virtually. Okay, I'll give them that one. I'll give them that one. Again, we're talking about cross currents here. It's just like when you're analyzing the dollar or something like that. It's not just one thing. You've got to sit there and say, okay, what are all these cross currents? And then when I consider all the currents coming this way and all the currents this way, which currents do I think will overpower the others? And then they go on to say that at least some of the time, and then as well as trepidation over the cerveza sickness. I don't give that any merit whatsoever. I don't, because think about it. You've got half of Americans that have taken the jab, if you will, and then you've got access to this by any American out there. There's no barrier for people to get this if they want it. And if they're truly concerned about this, then they would have already got the jab. So I don't give this any weight at all. I don't think I kind of, I'll give him the childcare thing with kids not being in school. I don't know how many states that applies to, but as far as the concern, and that's why they're not working, I don't buy that. In addition, research last year found an extremely limited effect of the $600 benefit, discouraging workers from finding jobs. $600, what are you talking about? Like, see, this is cherry picking data. $600, they're talking about like one round of stimulus. We've had 5. And now they're totally excluding the additional unemployment benefits, which is really, I think, more of the culprit than someone just getting 3 or 4 stimmies. And let's look at the data. This is not just conjecture on my part. Let's go to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. And as you guys know, I've used this data in several of my whiteboard videos. But look at what happened in March 2021. Incomes rose by 21%. 21%. And you say, well, yeah, George, but the month prior it went down by 7. Okay, but look at the trend here. Look at these, just add all these up, right? We've got a little bit lower in November, a little bit higher in December. Then January 2021, it's up by 10%. Sure, February down by 7, but now we're up by 21. If you add all these together, we're still way, way higher on net balance than we were back in November, let's say. Or even if you carry it back to the end of 2019, people still have way more money coming in. And this isn't some libertarian Austrian think tank. This is the Bureau of Economic Analysis. This is coming straight from the government. So I think it's disingenuous, to say the least, where they end this article. Excuse me, they don't end it, but where they end this thought by saying, by pointing out that, and again, last year, when last year? Was this in April? Was this in July? And then they're just most likely taking one of the Stimmy checks, but they're not looking at what the real data, because then they would have to say, in addition, research last year found an extremely limited effect of incomes going up by 20%. And by the way, expenses going down by probably 30%, because no one's got to pay rent and no one has to pay their mortgage anymore. And I realize most people continue to pay, but millions of Americans chose not to pay. So they have their incomes going up by 20%, but their expenses going down by, call it, another 20%. So they've got all this additional disposable income, and you think that's not going to discourage them from working? Who are you trying to kid? And again, just by them cherry picking the data and not acknowledging what we know is blatantly obvious, it just goes to show their true intentions, they meaning the mainstream media, isn't really to report the news. It's just to kind of promote the news, or tell you the news, but then kind of spin it with that narrative that they want you to believe and regurgitate, by the way. And then they give another example of this gentleman, Kurt Alstead, is having trouble finding help. He typically has staff of 30 year round, but really ramps up high. They're in the season hiring another 200. Damn, another 200. Alstead said he's getting a fraction of the applicants he usually does from college students, as well as senior citizen, and everyone in between. He chalks it up to a number of reasons, including students who were learning virtually from home all year and therefore already have a job. Okay. And parents who are unable to work. Okay. I'm not buying the unable thing. I'm more the spidey senses, meaning common sense, telling me that that they're unwilling to work. They're not unable to work. But the good news is at least the mainstream media is now acknowledging what seems to be blatantly obvious to anyone who is thinking about this critically and being objective, looking at all the data. Okay, guys, want to do some shout outs. Let's see, who do we got here? Oh, Angelique is hanging out with us. Kevin Glick is hanging out with us. I'm just going through some of the names. Travis Jacobs, a lot of the regulars. Cool. All right, so we got Cool Name, Wayne Smith, Savoy Truffle, Kevin Glick, Angelique, Human. Okay. We've got Gabriela Gerdes, El Chomio, Anton Rofe, J Crypto Gold Silver, Gregory Manarino Jr., Moody the Millennial. And, I wanted to try to pronounce that one. Adam Ahmed in the house. Mega Made, Jake Spice, Angel Paneru, Anhil maybe. Anhil Paneru. Hopefully I'm getting that right. Brandon Rostel, All-Nighter Hider, Sustainable Lumber Company, Magda W. Miku, Ken McMahon, Amy K., Daniel Stan, Andrew Kelly, Debbie, where'd you go? Oh. Sorry, Debbie. We'll have to give you a shout out next time. Oh, there's Heroin Guy, The Godfather, Mega Made, Annette Walls, Alex Z. R. Acosta Jr. Oh, friend and family member Fred. Boom, in the house. Katie Dobson, Mark Rochefort. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening and definitely check out the George Gammon channel tonight. Not sure if we're going to get it up around 9 p.m. Eastern. Might be a little late tonight because it's a long video. But it's on Stan Druckenmiller talking about how he is predicting the dollar will lose reserve currency status by 2015. Powerful statement. And I explain why he believes that and what his argument is on the whiteboard. So you got to check that out. You got to check that out tonight. Guys, enjoy your evening and we'll see you on the next video.